How's it going, everybody? My name is Jacob Glass. Welcome back to another episode of the Millennial Medic here on Eschatology Matters. All right, today I need to respond to this Rapture video that I saw. So let me show it to you guys.
This is the most terrifying fact about the rapture you must know. When the rapture takes place, Jesus will return in the clouds and he will remove his church from the earth. But there is a terrifying reality about the rapture that you have to know. The scriptures clearly tell us that some will be taken, but some will be left behind. I'm sorry if nobody ever told you this Bible truth, but the scriptures clearly tell us that not everybody will be taken when the rapture takes place. Many on that day will be taken, but many will be left behind. If you want to make sure that you're making the rapture, check out the video that I just put in the comments below.
Somebody has to tell this guy that Matthew 24 has nothing to do with the so-called rapture. Matthew 24 is about the destruction of Jerusalem and specifically the destruction of the temple. How do we know that? Because that's what the context says. That's what it says. So let's go ahead and look at that. Let's go ahead and read Matthew 24, and let's look at Luke 21, which is the same story written in Luke. So let's start with Matthew 24. Matthew 24, starting in verse 1, Jesus left the temple area, and he was going on his way when the disciples came up to point out the temple buildings to him. But he responded and said to them, "Do you not see all these things? Truly, I say to you, not one stone here will be left upon another which will not be torn down." And as he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" Okay, what's going on here? It says that they were going on their way, and the disciples came up to Jesus to point out the temple to him. And when they did that, he said, "Don't you know that not one stone will be left standing?" They go to ask him, "Well, when will this happen? And what will be the signs of your coming and the end of the age?" Okay, now people want to split that into two questions. That when is the signs of your coming and when is the signs of the end of the age? But let's look at Luke 21. Okay, Luke 21, the same exact story. Starting in verse 5, says, "And while some were talking about the temple, that it was decorated with beautiful stones and vowed gifts, he said, As for these things which you are observing, the days will come, when there will not be left one stone upon another which will not be torn down." They asked him questions, saying, "Teacher, when therefore will these things happen? And what will be the sign when these things are about to take place?" This is one question. He says it's going to be destroyed. They say, when is it going to happen? And what is the signs when it's about to happen? He's not asking about two different things. The coming of Christ and the end of the age are the same thing. And he's talking specifically about coming in judgment upon the city. And the reason we know that is actually what this gentleman was referencing when he says one will be taken and one will be left. It's talking about destruction. And let's read that further on in Matthew 24. It starts in verse 36. "But about that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone. For the coming of the Son of Man will be just like the days of Noah. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not understand until the flood came and took them all away. So will the coming of the Son of Man be. At that time there will be two men in the field. One will be taken and one will be left. Two women will be grinding at the mill. One will be taken and one will be left." Okay, he presents this idea that one will be taken away is the rapture, right? But what does this say? What are we looking at here? It says, just like in the days of Noah. So the coming of man will be just like the days of Noah. It says they were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying and giving in marriage. It says they did not understand until Noah was gone and they were taken away. Who was taken away? the wicked. The wicked was taken away. In this context, it has nothing to do with a so-called rapture where the church gets taken away, misses out on the tribulation, and everybody else is left here until the day of judgment. Not only that, it's about judgment. When Christ comes in judgment, this is talking about his judgment upon wicked, adulterous Jerusalem. One will be taken and one will be left. It's talking about the people in the city not knowing, not paying attention, and being taken by the coming destruction by the Romans. That's what this is talking about. Matthew 24 has nothing to do with the rapture. The rapture is nowhere in Scripture. It is just dispensational nonsense. I'm sorry to tell you that, but that is the truth. You have to read the context. You have to read the surrounding verses to understand what these passages mean. The coming of the coming of the Son of Man in Matthew 24 is about Christ coming in judgment upon the city of Jerusalem to destroy it and its temple. When the disciples are asking the questions, they're asking, when is it going to happen? And what are the signs that are going to happen? Which is the wars, the rumors of wars, all those things that people like to put out towards the end of time, right? He's talking about what's going to happen before the destruction of the temple. And what does he tell us as a time marker? He says, truly this generation shall not pass away before all these things take place. Matthew 24 has already happened. Stop believing this rapture nonsense that these people are pushing out. There's no way that this guy should have 1.21 million followers. He is deceiving tons of people with this nonsense. I hope you guys understand that, and I hope you guys can read the passages and watch this and understand what I'm trying to tell you. Pray that you would understand. God bless.
Seated here at my right hand, the